what's up, man? How y'all doing? It's another episode of Notable Inmates and the Prisons that Occupy Them. Today, we're doing something way different. And not your average prison or federal prison, okay? We are going to take a trip to Cuba, all right? So, if you don't like flying, you need to jump on a boat or something. Anyways, we are going to go down to Camp Delta, which is at Guantanamo Bay, that little area down there, so Camp Delta, it's a permanent American detainee camp at Guantanamo Bay that replaced the temporary facilities of Camp X-Ray. Its first facilities were built between February 27th, mid-April 2002, respectively, by the Navy Seabees. If y'all don't know who those are the construction workers of the Navy, and just to sum them all up. It is composed of detention camps 1 through 6, Camp Platinum, Camp Iguana, and the Guantanamo Psychiatric Ward, Camp Echo, and Camp Number, which is like a black site. There's not much information you can find on that one. But I'm covering all the rest of this in the next video. So, anyways, the prisoners referred to as detainees have uncertain rights due to their location not on American soil. There are allegations of torture, abuse of the prisoners, and a whole bunch of extra stuff. You can look it up on WikiLeaks if you're interested. Most of the security forces are the U.S. military and Navy masters at arms. The camp have different amenities and levels of comfort. Detainees are quartered in different parts of Camp Delta according to the level of cooperation with the guards and interrogators, with the exception of newly arriving detainees, who always go to a maximum security in Camp 3. Real quick, if someone's wondering why I didn't flick my lighter, it's because this episode is just based on the overall facilities. We're going to get into the inmates the next episode, so stay tuned. Also, subscribe. You're not going to want to mix the next one. Thereafter, cooperative detainees are moved to Camp 2 and Camp 1 as rewards for cooperation. When detainees cooperate and are thought to show no security risk, they can be moved to the buildings of Camp 4, which have a shower and a laboratory, plus 4 communal living rooms for 10 detainees each. In Camp 4, each detainee has a bed and a locker. Camp 4 detainees may eat their meals together instead of alone in their own cells, as in the other camps, and the Camp 4 detainees are set up by their white jumpsuits, in contrast to the orange worn by detainees in other camps. In addition to these benefits, detainees are also allowed special meal supplements to their diet, along with longer shower periods and longer exercise periods. So, some of y'all may be asking, what's Camp 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all those? Well, I'm going to break them down to you, player. Peep game. Camp 1 is one of the camps where the United States held detainees classified as enemy combatants, although the camp was reported to have been closed. Human Rights Watch reported it in June 2008 that it currently houses non-compliant detainees. At the time, they said the camp held 25 detainees in adjacent cells. That's Camp 1. This is Camp 3. It's one of the camps that held detainees classified as enemy combatants in extrajudicial detention. Although the camp was closed in 2006, Human Rights reported in 2008 that it was then used to house half a dozen non-compliant detainees who had to be housed in isolation. The detainees' cells were sufficiently isolated from another that they could not see one another. That was a real head scratcher right there. Next, we have Camp 4, which is that most closely resembles a traditional prisoner of war camp. Captives held there live in communal dormitories and have day-long access to communal exercise yard, games, and books. Camp authorities only allow the captives they consider compliant to stay in Camp 4, and they are allowed to wear white or tan uniforms, which distinguish them from orange uniforms being non-compliant captives' outfits. Now, Camp 5, according to Jay Hayhurst, deputy commander of the guard force, the camp opened up in 2004, and it cost about $17.5 million. It's modeled on a max security facility in, here we go, Terre Haute, Indiana. Did I say it right? The camp was built by Kellogg, Brown, and Root. Hayhurst said that the camp was used to hold the most non-compliant detainees. In 2006, National Public Radio reported that the camp could hold 100 detainees and was about half full. Initially, the press was told the 14 high-value detainees transferred from CIA custody on September 5th of 2006 were held in Camp 5, but they were in fact held in a small secret ultra-high security facility, Camp 7. The Department of Defense reports that Muhammad Ahmad Abdul Salih al-Hanashi committed suicide in Camp 5, June 1st, 2009. It's probably the longest name I've ever read in my entire history. Camp 5 is a disciplinary block for non-compliant prisoners. Lawyers claim that the cells are too small to be regarded as humane, that the toilets are inadequate, the lights are too bright, and the air in the cell is foul. The cells are only half the size of the cells at Camp 5 and have squat toilets in the floor instead of a standard prison toilet. David Remes described Camp 5 Echo 2011 as violating the Geneva Convention and called it a throwback to the bad old days at Guantanamo Bay. That rhymes. Bad old days at Guantanamo Bay. Hold on, we got a couple more people. So Camp 6, constructed by Halliburton, was modeled on the U.S. federal medium security penitentiaries. It was constructed to have individual cells that surrounded and looked on a communal mess area, where it was planned compliant detainees could interact for part of the day. However, while the building was still under construction, the decision was made to confine all detainees to their cells, except when they were taking a shower, taken for solitary exercise, or for official business. The communal areas were left unused. This transformed the facility to a high-security facility. In April 2010, The Guardian published a photo essay that showed that a TV had been installed in the common areas. Detainees were shackled to the floor during their TV privileges. So that means you couldn't get up and run at the screen or nothing on the ground, player. Camp 7, also known as Camp Platinum, is an isolated outpost strictly off limits from the Pentagon's media tour. A group of 6 military lawyers representing prisoners at Camp 7 concluded in February 2012 that the conditions at the camp fall short of the minimum guarantees of human treatment under the Geneva Conventions. People, how do y'all feel about Guantanamo Bay and the detainees they have there and all this type of stuff? Let me know what y'all think about that, man. I'm curious. And also, real quick, in 2005, an interview with Eric Sarr, an Arabic translator, said that the Camp Delta prisoners were subjected to sexual interrogation techniques and physically assaulted by snatch squads. What's a snatch squad? We're going to figure out what a snatch squad is. It refers to tactics used by police in riot control and crowd control. Okay. In one such case, a prisoner's arm was broken. He said that during an initial reaction force training, one U.S. soldier posing as a prisoner was beaten to the point of brain damage. Boy, a U.S. soldier posing as a prisoner was beaten to the point of brain damage? Bruh, they put hands and feet on him. Sarr also told that the Camp Delta employees deliberately ignored the Geneva Convention. In 2007, WikiLeaks published a leaked document called Camp Delta Standard Operating Procedures. The 238-page document includes rules for dealing with the hunger strikes, as well as instructions on psychological manipulating prisoners, intimidating them with the use of military dogs, and burying dead Muslim detainees. American Civil Liberties Union lawyer Jamel Dakar raised concerns over the fact that some detainees were hidden from representatives of the International Committee of the Red Cross. So basically what we have here, we have, this prison essentially that's meant to house, apparently terrorists. And, in America, when you go to jail, you got your rights. But being that these guys are terrorists, their rights really go out the window. So, what are y'all opinions on that? Do y'all think that they're wrong, or do you think that they're right? Let me hear y'all's opinion. You know what I'm saying? And then another thing, if you made it this far, you are a real one, and you definitely should subscribe and stay tuned for the next episodes. I appreciate y'all for watching, and bleep, 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 bleep. That's it, folks.